Go ahead. No, yeah. Yeah, there's not, we don't, I don't think.
Mic's on.
Mike's on. Okay, we will call to order the Town of Rome Community Development Authority meeting for Thursday, January 2nd. I'll have roll call from my left, please.
Jamadi here.
Dalton here.
Cole here.
Kubis here.
Sivaki here.
And Colleen Asmussen is absent. Maybe she'll be getting here a little bit later, I'm not sure. Can we certify the posting of the meeting?
Yep, I certify that on Friday, December 27th, 2024, the agenda for the Town of Rome Community Development Authority meeting for Thursday, January 2nd, 2025, was posted at the following locations: Rome Town Hall, 10:58 a.m., Quick Trip LLC, 11:12 a.m., Nakusa Port Edward State Bank, 11:19 a.m., posted on the Town of Rome website on 12/26/2024, and emailed to the Wisconsin Rapids Tribune on 12/26/2024.
Okay, thank you. And then we also have the agenda. It's pretty cool how you got it to fit on one page with the tiny type. So we need a motion to approve the agenda.
I'll make a motion to approve the agenda.
Second.
Okay, any discussion on that? Okay, all in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Okay, the motion is approved as presented. There are no citizens here at this meeting, but let's see. I guess we don't have to really read any of that. Okay, there's no public here at all, so. All right, no action contemplated except possible referral to future agenda. Information updates, meeting recaps, recent correspondence, current events, and announcements. Lori, do you want to start with that?
No, I have none.
Okay.
I have mine for town board, but thank you.
Okay. Anything, Heather?
No.
Okay, well, we can mention, and it will come up on the town board, it's been posted all over the place, that the transfer site is now accepting, electronic items, so there's I'll put it up like this, handy flyer that you can find. There's a few things that I can think of that are not on that list, that they're not accepting, and there's no charge, so if you have those items, you can now take them to the transfer site. There is, a wine dinner at Sand Valley coming up. If you go on their website, they have a Wines of Italy. I'm trying to find the date of it. I think it is the 9th.
One's January 9th, one's
Yeah.
February 13th.
And so you might want to look at their website for winter activities that are coming up. Otherwise, I don't have anything else.
I have a couple things. So Jillian and Tim Mitchell from Rome Outdoors worked together to put this flyer together. These are the 8 fisheries in the area. So that'll be posted in our vestibule and a lot of the billboards around town or on our website. So
That's another nice flyer.
yeah.
Last
I
year
thought it
was the
really cute.
bobbers. This year it's fish. That's
Yep.
cool.
Can you have Jillian get one of those over to us?
Oh, sure. Yep. And then just the other thing, just visit Rome. I'm doing a presentation, our annual report, later today at 5 p.m. during the town board meeting.
Okay, anything, Tiffany?
I don't have anything.
Okay, then we'll move on to reports. Parks and, did you have anything, Lexi?
I didn't get
Sorry,
anything from
I heard a
them.
noise. No? Okay. Parks and Rec Committee. Does anyone have a report from Parks and Rec Committee? Anything to update? Okay, Plan Commission.
There is going to be a Rome Town Center item that will be on the January 14th meeting. They're going to be discussing non-use control items, and basically they're just going to be kind of standardizing a lot of things, making it more consistent across the board,
Okay.
hopefully.
Does that also cover Rome Town Center updates, or do we want to talk about any updates on that?
I have the RTC committee.
Coming up?
Yep.
Okay. Sand Valley, I mentioned the wine dinners that are coming up, and then the pond hockey tournament will be coming up. So you can find all these things at their website or on the Visit Rome website. WEDC Connect Communities, any updates from that?
There were a couple of things Erin had sent over, but she sends them out under the Network Wisconsin logo. And one of these I'm going to pass on to Supervisor Minter for the Parks and Rec Committee. T-Mobile is taking applications again now through March 31st of 2025 for their $50,000 grants for small towns, and that might be helpful towards the disc golf development, that they could possibly use that. So if they could get going on that now as a committee, I think that would be a good one for them. We had attempted to try for that one once before and it didn't work out, but they select some really good development projects in different municipalities around the state. So I was going to forward that one on to him, and then I did send some information to Lisa today. I'm getting caught up with my Christmas, New Year's stuff, but the Wisconsin Department of Revenue, as part of, I think it was Act 12 and 16, when with the shared revenue changes, they were also looking at giving innovation grants. So I sent Lisa that information because it's for municipalities under 5,000, which is us. They have $3 million to give, so there's not that many of us with only 5,000. So the chances of being one of 30 are pretty good, because the most they'll give you is 100,000. And I sent that off to Lisa because I thought we could possibly collaborate for Lake to Lakes, and if it didn't work for that, maybe a municipal rec center. So,
Anything else? Anyone else look at WEDC? No? Okay. On to number, you have something else?
no, I was just gonna,
Okay.
I sent you the email today. I was getting caught up with that too in my notes. So you guys, right now you're on your own because I've tried. And
Yeah.
so you guys have got your,
Get it.
got your links.
Trying to make it work.
And Tiffany finally got through today. So hopefully you'll get in soon. So I didn't realize you were all still having problems. I thought it was just Jackie having that issue. But now Tiff's in, Tiffany's in,
And I've
I'm
been
in,
trying.
Lex is in.
I'm
So,
working on it. I know
Okay.
I confirmed some stuff today, but I haven't got a chance to go back and look.
all right.
So.
Okay,
Okay.
great.
We'll keep trying, because I do see the topics, but you just can't look at anything, because I saw that grant. Anyway, you just can't look at anything, but we'll get in there one way or the other. Number 8, the Rome Town Center Subcommittee update / review.
Okay. So before I get started, just one quick thing I'm gonna do going forward. I think I'm gonna remove from reports around town center update, because what I do for plan commission that I plan on just doing, I'm just gonna keep 8 permanent until this subcommittee gets disbanded and we finish work, because I am gonna keep updating you guys and plan commission since it's made
Okay.
up of both of the committees. So there's not really a point of having a Rome Town Center update in both places.
Perfect.
Anyways.
So future agendas will not have that under reports.
Nope,
Okay,
it'll just
understood.
be its own item.
Until that committee is disbanded.
Yep, and then
Okay.
then afterwards you can have it its own little report.
Okay.
Okay, I'll read my little blurb I have here. Okay, so the RTC subcommittee met on December 13th, 2024. This meeting was primarily focused on preparing and finalizing the framework for the master planner proposal to town board. The proposal was set to take place on December 19th, 2024, but due to inclement weather, the meeting had been canceled and the proposal had been postponed to January 2nd, 2025. The next subcommittee meeting is scheduled for January 3rd, 2025 at 10 a.m. During the next meetings, the subcommittee members will review Sam Schultz's 15 recommendations and launch points to help determine their next steps. They will also discuss the use controls and alignment with the RTC, or within the RTC, continue developing a programming list and design and building concepts for the proposed master planner, and eventual community engagement, and then prepare further for the proposed master planner's engagement. Not that exciting of an update because we only met once in December because of all the holidays, so.
Okay, so will there be a presentation then at the town
Yes.
board
Yes,
meeting
there will
tonight?
be.
So if you want to know more about this is just a teaser. Pay attention to the town board meeting tonight, or
Yep.
come to that, watch the presentation. And you can learn more about the updates for the Rome Town Center that are being recommended and proposed. Okay, anything else on that? No? Okay. Number 9, still Lexi, business license update.
Yep, nothing too exciting. On Monday, I sent out a letter to all the businesses that have licenses within the town of Rome, telling them that they need to renew their licenses by the end of January. So every business that has a license with Rome needs to get it updated.
Do you know the total number we have now?
I think it's 103. I can double check, but something around that number.
It's quite quite a few. You don't think
They're
there are
licensed.
103 businesses here, but I suppose there's a lot of small businesses.
Yep.
Okay. All right, then we'll move on. Discuss and possible action on the following items. Number 10, approval of the December 5th, 2024 meeting minutes. Seems like so long ago, doesn't it? So you've got those minutes here. We need a motion to approve those.
I'll motion to approve the minutes from the December 5th, 2024 meeting.
I'll second.
Any discussion? Okay, all in favor? Aye. Okay. Thank you. I did notice the minutes are prepared very succinctly. If you're doing, are you doing the minutes?
Mm-hmm.
I think you're doing a great job on them.
Thank you.
Number 11, discussion and possible action, Q1 roundtable planning. So this is, I wasn't here at the last meeting. This is something that came up at the last meeting, so someone can take this.
I guess I can lead into it a little bit. So when we were going over the goals matrix last meeting, it kind of came up that I don't remember exactly which goal. I guess I can go through and find it.
Or 5.
Yeah, number 5. That one of the items that they wanted to do for business engagement was a round table, and they wanted it to be something annual or biannual. I don't remember what you guys finally decided on, and I guess pretty soon you guys wanted to do it. So
I think the whole background was we asked what we could do to help businesses. And to me, I don't know what they need. Do they need graphic design help? Do they need promotion help? Do they need... So the thinking was, well, let's bring a few of the businesses in and find out what they do need instead of us guessing.
I think it was piggybacking on the previous meeting when we said, you know, we're interested in somehow getting with them versus visits, but hearing from them and what would it take, and that organic growth that I think the Rome Business Alliance needs to have a stronger, they're gonna have a stronger presence. It needs to be more organic, and Tiffany had some ideas on that, so if we could bring those businesses together, and that list is gonna help us now with the renewal of the licenses. There's a lot that can spring off of this then. Because you're right, we don't know what they all need or if they want us involved at all. Some do, some don't. But also that the Rome Business Alliance could be stronger if they look at other avenues of assisting one another as businesses in the town. So, and then it also had to do with the fact that, you know, with talking with the subcommittee and if we did have a master planner approved, that it would be also part of those roundtable initiatives that we want to take and bring community ideas in and business ideas in for what they would like to see in the RTC. So, but I also think it was recognition that they're here. Thank you for being here. We acknowledge you. How can we be better assisting you, kind of thing.
Okay.
And it also said it was on, I think number 5, you updated it for us pretty well too, Lexi.
yeah, it was point 3 of goal 5. That was kind of the overarching theme of it.
Yeah, and we had decided, we had talked that, you know, when originally thought about Thanksgiving as being a great time to thank people, but spring is when they're getting ready for their new season. So can we create something there and some excitement by meeting with them in the first quarter of 2025 and see what their ideas are and build off of that? So that was Tiffany's suggestion. I think you brought some things up and so did Lisa. So we had a really good conversation about it. It was good, I thought.
Sounds like a good conversation with a lot of questions and a lot of loose ends as to who would be invited, what would they do, who would be the moderator on this. If they express they have needs, how can we fulfill the needs other than just letting them know resources within the community? Because I don't think anybody's offering to prepare all kinds of information and flyers and help people learn how to use email and things like that. Maybe just identify the needs and try to but then you have to be ready with what the resources are to meet the needs. Rome Business Alliance has its own issues, and I think, in my opinion, they would be much better being a networking group rather than calling themselves a business alliance. I could see that more as a Rome Business Networking a group that meets in various places, whether it be at a place for a beverage or whatever, and talks amongst themselves and shares ideas and gets to know each other better. I don't think their current model's working for them. And so I don't know who would suggest that to them, if they're open to it, because that's a separate organization. So I like the idea, but there's a lot of questions here, like who's going to put this all together? You can't just get a bunch of people in a room and not have a plan, an itinerary, and answers to their questions that you might anticipate.
Well, I think that's what the discussion
Is that-
today was, is
Okay.
that last meeting was kind of that.
And then
Here's this
build off of
idea,
it.
and
Just the
today is
idea.
talking
Start
about
building off
those,
of it.
yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
So are we thinking this committee's going to do these things? Or we're going to look for a moderator, or, I guess
I
that's the
think you would need a
question.
moderator.
Yeah, I don't, this is sort of
think it'd be
a
great-
business symposium you're almost proposing, unless it's just something real casual.
Well, and that's what we had discussed, was it's literally just a casual roundtable of inviting the Rome businesses that are here. Hey, come in, tell us what your bites and strikes are, because if it's something like, hey, we just need help getting graphics out there, like we're posting on Facebook, but maybe how you're posting isn't working. So those are things that, okay, here's a helpful direction for that. Maybe you didn't know what the visitor center could do for you, Visit Rome could do for you. You know, what are the little ways that we can help? And then we did also discuss as a part of that is the Business Alliance. And me talking with Mike, I had said I would, about, you know, hey, maybe let's get some sort of agenda put together, a better way of, you know, maybe working with, you know, Rome and the business license. And when a new one comes in, you get an email from the Business Alliance. Hey, here's who we are and what we do. Here's our agenda. Just get that a little bit more structured.
I think you hit it casually. I think a good moderator, and she might, if we pick the timing right and ask her, would be Erin from WEDC, because they've got the resources for small businesses. They could put you in touch with the rural USDA people, small business up at UWSP. So Erin would be the perfect one to have moderate something like that. And if it's more casual and not so intense coming into it that you're gonna have answers to all your questions, we don't have that because we don't even know what the questions are yet. So how can we have answers prepared? But some of the other things they might be, if we could have some maybe initial 3 points, not chop off a whole lot to start, but the RBA is one of them, which maybe you want to think of it as a networking group. What assistance do you need and how can Erin help them?
Yeah.
Or, you know, other things like, so I didn't think it was going to be that formal.
Yeah.
More casual and getting people like, hi, how are you? You know, and this is who we are. Who are you? Because we don't even know. I don't know 103 businesses in the town. I know some of them are out of their homes. Some of them have a storage building and we never see them or hear from them, and they're fine. You know, everything's great. So it all depends on who's going to show up for it too. I mean, we could put a feeler out there and say, are you interested in something like this? We want to get together. We'd have a facilitator, you know, from which is Wisconsin Economic Development Corp.
Yeah.
They guide us through, and this is just a starting point to get us, because we want to be more involved to help you and hear what you need from us.
Yeah.
And like we said, it's part of, you know, our goal matrix is we have this continued support of established businesses. When, okay,
How
what
do
are
we
we
support-
doing? What does
yeah.
that
Right,
look
what do they need? How do
Yeah.
we support them?
No, I'm just throwing it out there that talk is good, but doing it is something else. And so we have to have, and if Erin is a good place to start, she maybe has done this already somewhere.
Exactly.
And has sort of a guideline template, as it were, to how you go about this. Are you inviting all 103 businesses and just figuring you're not, you know, I don't think 103 people are gonna come, or 206 if they bring someone with them, or are you breaking it down by type of business? You know, there's just some questions to it, so I think it's a great idea, it just needs development. So I guess that today would be what's the next step? Is it to contact Erin, or, oh, got your hand up?
I guess my question would it be more beneficial to have an actual roundtable, or to be more beneficial to contact maybe Erin and have something set up where we bring people in and have resources and invite business, like, and have like resources set up like in the community room where we have like tables set up like an exhibition, like what do you call it, exhibition,
Yeah.
and then have like businesses come in and they can like get those connections, and then they come in and use those resources instead. Because I feel like if we have a round table, that could easily turn into something where they come in, they're like, I don't like the town, and that turns into
That's why you have a
yelling match.
moderator, like
Well,
Aaron. And I see what you're saying, that's a valid point about, having exhibitors, but I think that's bigger than what we can manage right now, and the chambers do that. Adams County and Wood County, no, there's some value, but I don't know that that's the point we're at yet. But a round table, when you have someone, a professional from an outside organization come in and they've done that before, they could keep, just like we did with the Plan Commission, we had 28 attendees and they were all very happy
I'm
from
just-
different places.
I'm just not sure how well they'll take to airing, because I'm thinking about like when Rain came in and how people were not very kind to Rain.
We can't do that with, that's the way of the world is today, and yeah, they're gonna be that way, but hopefully they would be more professional and understand that's not why this person is here to help you or help the town. And we can't change people, but hopefully in the new year people find more joy and happiness and find other ways of expressing their opinions.
Well, and I feel like if we're not asking our businesses how can we support you, then
What do we
what are we doing? We're the CDA, right? So we're supposed to develop our community, but if we're not asking how we can help develop our community, right? So we want their take on it. There's always going to be somebody who takes it too far. There's always going to be somebody who looks at it as this is just my way to bash Rome. Well, guess what? If you don't like it, there's lots of other communities to move to. But it's also a way of knowing that, letting the businesses know, hey, we're here, we hear you. Like maybe it's a workforce. Well, guess what? As part of we're considering that. That's not something that's gone on deaf ears. We can't fix it tomorrow or yesterday, but we know that workforce is an issue. It's an issue for everybody. And, we're sorry it's not helping, or you're affected by it. So what's something little we can do to help? Can we help you post a job listing or, something like that? Just little things that help businesses want to stay here because that helps grow our community.
I don't think we'll have all the answers in the beginning. That's
Nope.
how that's
And-
when
but
things
that's
are
how you-
organic that are
Yeah.
successful sometimes is you start with a handful of people, you start with an idea and you build off of that. You're not gonna have all the questions and answers before
Nope.
you even get rolling.
Yep, but you got to get the questions in order to get the answers, right? So it's a way of knowing what answers do we need to get for these folks.
I think that's all fine. We should start with Aaron. We need to be careful, though, in offering services to businesses because I don't know who's performing these services. I don't think our staff can take on any more, and it's not Visit Rome's job to prepare flyers for all businesses.
Oh, no, I wasn't saying
No,
that.
no, I know you weren't, but it kind of was moving like the visitor center and can do those things, but that is not their function. So, and there, so it's like you'd have to have an idea who's performing these services. It's not Visit Rome or the town. You'd have
Right.
to more help people realize they do need to improve things and.
And that's a good point, but that's also a reason why these businesses should start, if they're getting bigger and growing in that respect, they should start joining the chambers. And there was discussion last year with Stacy Kivy from Rapids and also with Megan, I had talked to both of them, that with that business list, if people would want to join the chambers, rather than paying $500, I don't know what the fee is now, but $500 for that one and $500 for that one, but you're right here in Rome and you'd benefit from both of these organizations. How about, we find a way that you can join both for one flat fee?
Yep.
And I had
actually-
proposed that to Stacy when we had a meeting up at Midstate.
Yeah.
And Megan liked that idea too, that if there's a way that we can help facilitate that at that meeting and bring the chambers in, maybe make them part of that with Aaron. They might be able, because we can't be a resource for that. I understood where you were going, but I was concerned they can help me with my flyers.
Yeah.
I know you weren't gonna
I'm
do
just
it. I
saying
know
we need
you
to
didn't mean
identify
that.
what they need.
Right.
Exactly.
I felt more Tiffany was leaning in that direction, like we can help people do this. So I think asking Aaron about it, talking to the chambers, seeing if those, if she and maybe chamber reps could come to this and help develop whatever this is. Because we're kind of crossing into chamber kind of business rather than town business. We're here as a community development authority. We do want to know what our community needs and what our business needs, but we're, this is getting messy crossing that into chamber.
But I think the point of this, and not, I wasn't trying to say Visit Rome can do this, it was more of, they have a resource for this. They have a pamphlet for this, or you can, if this is one of your issues, hey, I happen to know you can go to Rapids and they have a resource for this, or the chamber. So we're really just that segue of hearing our businesses, what they need, and sending them, you know, or giving them a recommendation. We're not gonna be able to solve all the problems, but that was more of what that was, is here's one of your pain points and here's a direction that you can go to help that pain point. I happen to know from being a business and being a chamber member, you actually don't have to pay in order to have the benefits from the chamber. Any business can. So any of these small businesses, I actually quit as a chamber member because there was just a little bit of like gimmies going on from small business that couldn't afford it, and not wanting to give in return and help with things. But there's been a lot of management change in the last years where that's been
both
changed.
of them. And
So,
I think you hit the right point. We're a segue.
Yeah.
We can't do it for them.
Nope.
We have a lean mean machine here, staff that's taken on, you know, so, but we can direct them.
Yeah.
And if we're gonna aid businesses, it's directing them to where they can get the resources they need.
Yeah.
We're just here for this other stuff. And if we're giving them that round table to say, we're here, if you know, or you wanna create a business, that's one thing, but we're not stepping into roles that other people already created and had.
Yeah, we're just that segue, and I think that's where we show that we're a community and we care. And we care about our businesses here and we want them to stay, and here's how we help you do that.
And I think at the last meeting, we also said that part of that would really, so maybe it's twofold, introducing them to the resources they need outside of the town to continue maintaining their businesses. And also as a Rome Business Alliance or a networking group, you have the opportunities to do this. And I see Aaron giving them innumerable ideas on how to do that, because they do it around the state. So,
Yeah.
but I think that would be the two focuses of that, and keep it simple. Sometimes keeping it simple is the best way to go.
Okay, so next step on this, I think it's coming to the surface that, dealing with Erin, asking her about it, talking to her about it, what are her ideas, how can we, actually do this and have it be worthwhile, is the next step. So, who wants to do that? Do we have a relationship with Erin? I don't know her, I can call and talk to her about it, but I honestly I've never talked to her about it. So is there anyone, anyone want to jump on this or not?
I can.
Should we maybe that's great, maybe you could work with Lexi and Lexi can, or you want her to handle all of it? Do you have time right now? You're gonna probably start getting busy, I don't know, but
I don't know.
Erin's a great gal, I've been in her trainings and stuff, and she'll help anyone that gives her a ring.
Do you want to work alongside or be part of an initial phone conference to introduce the concept, to kind of, so that you have the town perspective on what, or
Or
not?
just
You
leave it
can
up to
say you don't, you can't do it, I'm asking you.
I mean, I feel like it would be easier for just one person to do
Okay.
it, if I'm
Okay,
being
then,
honest.
Fine. So just an introduction of what it is, and maybe if you would send her, so that we all know what you're saying to her, an email that introduces this and what it is and what, so we have a complete understanding of what's being shared with her and what her answer is. Does that make sense?
Got it.
Okay. Do you want to have any idea when you want to do that, so we can know when to bring it back up onto the agenda?
Oh, I'll have it done. I'll probably take care of that tomorrow, if not by
Next
Monday.
meeting, it
Yep,
can
so
come
it'll
back
be done
up?
by next meeting.
Okay, thank you.
I gotta do it right away or it doesn't get done.
That does tend to happen. Okay, so that'll be our next step in the Q1 roundtable planning, or whatever we rename this. Thank you. Now, moving on. We're done with that? Anything else? Number 12, discussion and possible action, review and discuss the goals matrix. So this is just an ongoing thing that's on every meeting we have. And so we can just kind of keep up with our goals, see if we're accomplishing any of them. So where are we at with the marketing plan brochure?
So with that, Lisa and I had talked last month and before the meeting last month about really cleaning that up and getting that brochure word out of the vocabulary, because it's not really what it is. You know, you're not going to come here and get this actual physical brochure or anything. A lot of the information that we looked at was duplicated in other places within this CDA website and economic development pages. So we're just looking at one location for stuff. You know, if it doesn't need to be in this quote brochure if it's found somewhere else right there.
Okay.
So we're just still looking at pretty much for that singular piece of it. The old brochure is updating all the information. She's got a lot of that from the county, as well as information that they have.
So just really streamlining the web pages more than they are. There's a lot of duplication on those on those landing pages.
Do we need the printed brochure? Do you do anything with that brochure? Do you send that to anyone? Does anyone come in and ask for those? Or is that just in the bottom of a drawer somewhere and we have a brochure that is not necessary?
I don't even know if we have printed copies right now.
Okay, so maybe that's part of this, is
Right.
to dissolve that printed brochure unless it's something you think is used at any type of shows or meetings or anything like that.
Essentially, what we're looking at having updated is like having it be just the infographic. So that's
Yeah.
something that could always still be printed
Okay.
for any shows or.
Because there are always costs associated with producing a
Right.
printed piece of material that you might be able to accomplish with a QR code on the back of the town.
Not everybody
website.
does QR codes. I've talked to numerous people that will not do QR codes. And it's because more and more people are getting scammed or your information's getting stolen from your IP address. And it's very interesting. I think they're cool. I've finally learned how to do them myself so I could enter, different, and get it. But I've had numerous people tell me they will not do QR codes anymore just because of the number of times they've either been scammed or had their information stolen from their IP address. So it's just something to think about for the future. I'm not knowledgeable enough on the whole topic, but I think it's something just to be mindful of. I like the idea of an infographic, and we did have printed ones years ago in folders, but the folders were donated by a design company. It was a long time ago, and we handed those out because people would come in, or we would have CDA roundtables and people would come and sit and we'd introduce them. And that might even be something we do at that first meeting, say, this is what we are, this is what we do, as an introduction, a brief background on what the CD is and what we do according to state statutes. But as a business, if you want to start a business or you need information on this, we can direct you here, here, and here. But
I don't know that we need the trifold thing, so I wouldn't, I would suggest we just eliminate that.
And you could have a printable PDF on
if people wanted to,
this
yes.
infographic. It could
Right,
be
you
printable
could
from the
print it
website.
yourself.
I think
or-
that's a great idea, Lisa, because sometimes when they go in for a business loan or they're applying for a loan through WEDAC or Adams County, the more materials they have to support where it is and what they're doing, the better it is for them. So having a printable one, I think, is a good idea.
So do we want to update this goals matrix, take the word brochure off of there? Because it's still a marketing plan with information on countywide development advantages. Or are we taking that whole section off of there, improve economic development web presence? Or just leave it as the second part of that?
Oh, you're saying the goal
Yeah,
itself?
just changing it itself, because we might as well keep this updated. It's got the word brochure on there. You can just eliminate the word brochure, or eliminate the whole top chunk and leave,
I don't even think it would be called a marketing plan. Do
it's
you?
not a mark.
Just
I'd take off the whole top
Let's
chunk
take off the whole top
and leave
chunk of
improve
it.
economic development web presence on town website, or economic development web presence. Yeah, period, yeah.
Okay, got that, Lexi?
Economic development web presence.
Just the second half.
Cross
of
off your
goal
first
one.
paragraph,
The
Lex,
first
and then.
first half of the box. And the action steps, you're continuing to work on this, so we're gonna take off that demographics marketing brochure. Is that correct?
Well, you need demographics, but I would cross off the marketing brochure.
right, because it's
Because
that
you still need.
We're still having that on the web presence, so
Yes.
just marketing brochure can go away. The Rome Town Center map is always updated or being updated, it seems, where we're located, I think the rest of that's okay. Are we still on target to complete this by end of Q1 2025?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay. Anything you need from this group or anything else to make this happen? Or resources?
Need to get with Taylor, correct? To do, or Taylor or Jason for here's what needs to be updated on the web.
Yeah, so once you have the updates completed, you can just send an email to her and just say, can you please add this to the website?
Okay.
And I did end up by merging goals 1 and 2 together, and I
Yeah,
forgot to
we
renumber
just-
them, so my
We
bad.
just moved to goal number 3. So is there, all right, number 2, what did we miss here?
So yeah, number
You
2 got merged to 1, so
Okay.
during the last one, but I just didn't
Okay.
renumber them. I forgot
So we're
about that.
gonna, 3 is 2.
Yep.
The beautification initiative, I think the most recent thing we did were the small trees. Have you been reaching out to any businesses, Lexi, about, some remediation? I mean, I still see some stuff. And I know you were going kind of more like step by step with businesses instead of trying to go after everything at once.
Right now, I have a lot of campers I'm dealing with.
Okay.
So I have not been very heavy on businesses, but if you are seeing,
That's still part of it, so I just shouldn't have said businesses, just in general. So when you say campers that should be moved or
they're campers that should be
abandoned
either moved or that should be having off-season camping permits.
Okay.
But like always, if you see something that you don't know if it's right or shouldn't, you are just questioning it, feel free to send me an email and I'll look into it.
Okay.
I always look into it, don't worry.
What
if we see
is-
sorry, go ahead.
My question, as far as like the town and our requirements go, and maybe I'm specifically thinking of a couple places in Arrowhead. So maybe Arrowhead's a little bit different with their HOA. But what is considered blight where you would want to be concerned and maybe bring it to the town's attention?
You can bring anything to my well, you can bring anything to my attention. Doesn't matter what. If you have any concern at all, you can bring it to my attention.
Okay.
If it's a false alarm, there's nothing wrong with it. What's the worst that'll happen? I look
Right.
at it and there's nothing wrong. I say, oh nope, they're not in violation. Thank you for bringing
Okay.
it to my attention.
Okay.
I'd rather you do that and it be nothing,
Yep.
or versus I go there and there's like something that's really bad happening, and I don't see it because there's over 3,000 things. Some people, I don't even know how many. I don't remember how many parcels there are, but there's a lot of properties, and there's a lot of things I don't see. There's a lot of things that happen that
Yep.
people build that shouldn't be built.
Yep.
So
Yeah, that was kind of, I guess, what I was getting towards is like, what is the blight considered? You know, we're breaking a number of outbuildings, or is blight considered you just have junk laying around? Like, what is our take on what that looks like, or is it again just kind
It
of?
can be a mixture of things. Like there's things that like people are building stuff that they don't have permits for. There's things that people just have houses that are falling apart, they're not fit for habitation. People are living without water.
But I have to, I'm gonna step in here though and just say, those are nuisances. Those are code violations.
Yeah.
When we talk about remediation and blight, we're talking about B1, business zone.
Okay.
So anything that's in the business district.
Yeah.
That looks.
That- I think
you
that's
know, like
kind
a
of what I
building
was
without
looking
a
for, like,
roof, or there's
what-
so much
yeah.
storage outside behind it in the RT. Don't. I'm just saying, you know, it blight in businesses, and now they're gonna build storage. But anyway, businesses up and down the gateway, that look offensive, that have the wrong sign, or their signs tearing, flapping, or they have too many signs and they didn't apply for the proper permits.
Yep.
But when it comes to other things like Lexi's talking, some of those things like in the home area, which is residential, that's not our realm.
Yep. Yeah, and that's what I was looking
Yeah.
for direction on, is what is our difference
That would be
here?
a nuisance
Okay.
complaint, and you'd file, you know, you can file those anonymously and just say, you know, I find this, you know, this is a problem, and Lexi will explore those with our community policing officer,
Yeah.
or community code enforcement officer, you know, that she does as part of her job, you know, that they would take care of those matters, even like dead brush or things like that. That's nuisance. But anything that's in B1, that would be up for remediation and blight.
And I think just so it's clear, anyone that is listening, any citizen can contact Lexi, or they can, there's actually a form that you could stop in. Is it online also?
Yep.
Online, or stop in and complete, and you can do this with your name or anonymously. If you do see something that you think, if it's in the business district or it's residential, just since you kind of introduced that. So anyone can do that, not just this committee.
And I've received them as the chair and before as supervisor, and they would say, please keep my name anonymous, and I'd redact it and give it over to the zoning administrator, so.
And there are residential houses in B1 too, so that is kind of tricky.
Yeah, if they are in B1, yeah, then of course, but that's at the bottom of the list of where we
It's kind of weird.
well, they shouldn't, yeah, well, it is what it is.
Okay. And so the first part of this, outreach to specific businesses, areas for projects CA identifies as opportunities. I'm trying to wrap my head around that. The only opportunity I think that I thought of that could be reached out to is a business that has a large, the storage area on Alpine that has a big, large open area. I think we did find that they were supposed to have planted trees in there back in 2017, and they didn't do it. Was not enforced. So that's an opportunity for them to improve the look of their property. So I think, in my opinion, you wouldn't now go back, how many years is that? 7 years later, and say now we're coming back to you because you didn't comply with the conditions that were put upon you. But you could talk to them about it and say they were put on, but rather than come as an adversarial approach, more say it's an opportunity to beautify your property and, you know, something like that.
Well, and hopefully moving forward, they wouldn't get that old. There'd be follow-through on them.
Right, so
You know,
that's
they wouldn't
just
be
a,
left to go. There's one right now on D going, east that hasn't complied with what was established in their finding of facts at Plan Commission.
Right.
And so when do we step in, and that's really up to the zoning administrator and the code enforcement officer. And again, that comes back if you file a concern. You don't want to be, like she said, adversarial, I get that, but at some point too, you did promise you were going to do this.
right,
And do it, because if we're going to put those things on other people going forward, which some people have been adamant about, then everybody should, just like the driveways we did in the Rome Town Center, and we assisted some with that by allowing them to put it on their tax bills. So that's how we work with them to resolve some of the issues we might have.
so if you do notice things that you'd like Lexi to contact or outreach opportunities, let her know. There's a lot that Lexi does with all of this, so.
I think you'll also find too, now that once you can get into the WEDAC and that, they put out articles and stuff, and when you've gone, if you have a chance to go to their trainings and times permit, they've worked with different communities, just like not just artwork, but making buildings look better, so it's like if you have some money in the budget, you could say, have a competition and say, improve your sign, or improve your storefront, or we encourage you to do. So I see that as being part of it too, is the ongoing, projects that we could do, and even art in the Rome Town Center, in the Gateway District, helping them do that sort of thing.
Okay. I don't think we have any additional action steps on that. We'll just continue to look at it. Actively participate in Connect Communities. Well, we've kind of talked about that already tonight, this afternoon. We don't want it to be tonight. We gotta keep going.
But part of this, though, as our membership in Connect Communities, we do pay a nominal fee to be in that. There are some classes, and I haven't done it in a very long time, but in order to remain a member of Connect Communities and Main Street, we have to take some of their courses online. Just if you're bored one night and can't sleep, it's a perfect time to do it.
Okay.
So that maintains our membership in Main Street.
Sounds like you, Tiffany. No,
What?
not the bored part, just can't sleep. That's me too. For those that can't sleep. Okay, so that was actually number 3. That'll be fixed. And now, continue support of established businesses is now number 4. We already talked about that. I believe. Is that correct?
For the most part, because of the round table discussion.
Yeah, the round table business. Number 5, this is the RFP for housing, and I think this, now that we're getting the Rome Town Center Subcommittee report tonight, and that's going on where it's still on hold. And then number 6, which was 7, and that's again with the subcommittee collaborating with planning and zoning. Unless you disagree and see we need to be doing something else now. It seems that we're all kind of waiting on that Rome subcommittee and what that's looking like, so that's a exciting thing that first presentation's coming, so.
Yeah, and tonight it's about, we've actually accomplished a lot, believe it or not, in the short time that we've been meeting. I mean, our first meeting was in August, but then we had a bit of a delay due to August just being, holiday month for everybody, and then moving into September. But we've met on 3-4 times in a month sometimes to move things along, and we see where we've got to look at the use controls and non-use controls. But this master planner piece will really help us do some things in the RTC, and I see that flowing over into other areas. And I think the committee members that are here with me can agree to that. So,
Good. There was a lot to unpack in that whole project, it sounds like. Okay, number 13. Oh, Lexi's getting ready for something fancy here. Discussion only, short-term rentals, proposed internal process review.
I do have a question on this item. It's relevant really to Plan Commission, and it hasn't been approved by the town board yet. So the internal process won't change unless the town board has approved this.
Right.
So, and this is really only one leg of that process, and Lexi's done a great job in presenting to Plan Commission, which is really one of the reasons why we've chosen to move forward with the changes we've had, because this wasn't decided overnight. It's been a couple of years that we've been at this. So, but it's just with the discussion taking place tonight for the town board to decide, I don't know if it would be premature to talk about internal process and then let the staff decide based on what the town board discusses. But I just wanted to add that before this gets underway.
Do you want to reply to that at all, Lexi? Is the information you were planning to give this group about short-term, because short-term rentals are businesses, so I think.
They say they're
yeah.
not, and they aren't according to, but I mean, we don't need to have that debate here,
Yeah.
so. But business or not, business related, these are in homes and they're congregated in one area, so this is a home type. But it's up, it's
It all
not my,
depends,
it's not
yeah.
my,
What you're going to present, is it something premature that should not be presented prior to town board approval?
I mean, I don't really know. In my opinion, it's just the same exact presentation I gave to Plan Commission, so it's already public. It's already been public information.
Okay.
That's the only reason why I thought it was okay. It's already been on YouTube. It's already been out there to the public. There's absolutely nothing new that I'm going to share to you guys that hasn't been publicly accessible.
So you're just covering all your bases, making sure all the committees got the information.
Well, I know Jackie was a little
This
bit
committee.
curious. Yeah, this committee, and I figured that it's not there's nothing groundbreaking, and it's pretty cool to see. This is assuming that it gets approved tonight, which I'm assuming it will. There's not anything crazy happening. This is going to be something that will get put on the website as soon as tomorrow. So
as long as we don't discuss the actual internal process, because we
No,
don't
I'm not
have that
showing- I'm
all
not showing the
determined,
back
'cause
end
that
part.
hasn't even been through Plan Commission yet.
no, I'm not showing the back end
Absolutely
part.
want everybody to have the
Nope.
information.
I'm not showing the back end part at all, like I did with the Plan
Okay.
Commission. I'm literally just showing the front end part.
front end.
This is just what anyone who would go look at this like tomorrow when this goes on, or I don't know if it'll go on tomorrow. I'd have to ask Taylor if she would put it on the website tomorrow, because I don't know
A
where
meeting in the
website-
morning, so don't.
Yeah, whatever. But it's literally just the exact same thing that I showed Plan Commission. It's already out there on the public website, so I don't.
Without the back end.
Yes.
Okay.
So I
Okay.
don't see an issue. I personally don't see an issue with it, but
So
Thank
let's
you.
continue, but we are not going to talk about the proposed internal process review.
Thank
Nope.
you.
nope.
Okay.
So this is what the actual short-term rental public-facing site is going to look like going forward, since it's not going to go to Plan Commission, hopefully anymore. So it'll be kind of cool. So instead of, this is kind of a blurb describing the, like, how short-term rentals used to go. We don't have to read through all this. This is kind of a lot. It's a little bit dated because I started making this back in like August, because that's when we started having our short-term rental conversation.
Do you want to summarize how, I mean, just without reading that, is everybody aware of how the short-term rental process used to go?
Yep, so this is a summary basically saying that Rome has experienced a growing number of short-term rentals throughout the years, and that short-term rentals used to go, or short-term rentals in the zoning side used to go through a conditional use permit process where they'd have to go to Plan Commission in order to have a public hearing in order to get that permit. And now instead of doing that, they will have to go to staff, specifically the zoning administrator, to get a zoning type permit in order to rent.
Versus a conditional use
Versus a
permit.
conditional use
Which
permit.
is something that we've been asked to really consider and get rid of because there's more litigation and so forth.
Yep, and then I just have when that will start, which is technically not December 2024 anymore, which I thought it would be. It'll start in January 2025 now because of the delay from the December meeting getting canceled. So then after that, this is the short-term rental ordinances that are still in place because they have not been updated yet. So I guess this will not hit the site tomorrow. This will hit the site after I get the updated ordinances. So these are just what the ordinances are. So this is so anyone can see it at any time. This is going to be all of them. So this will also have the new zoning ordinances for short-term rentals. Because right now this is just mainly the one for the one on the clerk's page. Because there's not very much because it doesn't really make sense to have the conditional use permit ones. This is about host compliance. So if you guys don't know, because you guys don't really deal with the short-term rentals, every time I do short-term rentals, I have to send out a couple of things. I send out our Act 67, which talks about conditional use permits. I send out a letter with host compliance, which is our software that helps us track our short-term rentals and like helps us monitor them and helps people who live by our short-term rentals so they can basically tell us if people are following the rules. And then I send them our ordinances, which is why the ordinances are in there as well. So this is that letter just put right on this website. It has all the information basically saying like the short-term rental, like that we cannot restrict short-term rentals because we legally are not able to, and like the efforts that the town goes through to make sure that everyone who has a short-term rental is renting it safely, the efforts that we are going through to make sure everyone's being safe. Then it has the phone number for the hotline that anyone can call. It's a 24/7 hotline. And then it has the link that goes right to host compliance. So if you want to make a report at any time, you can click that. I need to make this into a button though, because if I click it, it will take me off of this. And then this right here is a presentation I made in August, which is just about host compliance and short-term rentals. It just goes over the reporting process and what a violation is, because there was a little bit of an issue with people who didn't want short-term rentals just kind of mass reporting for like silly things like someone has a garbage out, and it would just not, it wouldn't be a viable report. So that was that one. And then this is what the cool thing is I'm planning on doing every month. So in the month, so this is going to be month by month. Each month will have a different tab up top, and I'll probably have I'll probably make a new one of these either yearly or every other year, depending on how full it looks. But it'll be easily accessible because like you can click if I wanted to. It pops me right over here, so you can click December. So in the month of December, I received and processed 5 different short-term rentals. Last month we received 5 short-term rentals, so this is literally what we have. And then I have a map down here that actually shows where all the short-term rentals are. This is where all the properties are. and I can click any of these and it'll take me right to the property. So this is something that we haven't done before. It's giving the public access to it. And then right here is the report that I usually make for Plan Commission, and just gives everyone that report. So it just tells them that who applied for it, when their request was, what season the request was for, how many people I sent letters to. Up here is a map of the people who would have received the letters actually. So that way if someone's like, oh, I didn't receive a letter, I can see like, oh, yeah, you're close, but you were not within 205 feet or whatever. And then it talks about how there's conditions that I place in this situation now. And then where in town code I am finding the calculations for the occupancy. So in this particular situation, they have an occupancy of 12 and vehicles of 6. And then I talk about the license requirements, including the property manager. And then it's like that for all of the properties, and if you scroll it, it just goes to every single property that would be for this month. So if you get a letter saying that there's a short-term rental, it will include both a link that you can just like put into you can type in up there, and a QR code, which I know some people don't like QR codes, but unfortunately there's not much else I can do for it.
I'm just making
I know, I understand.
It's come up many times.
I understand, but unfortunately with this being online, there's not much else I can do with that one. But yep, so this is what I'm doing, and then at the bottom there's just contact information saying that I'm the one who updates it, and then contact at zoning, and then the zoning information or number, so if people do have any questions at all, they can reach out to me. And I will have, like I said, this will be in the letter I send them. It will be a little bit cheaper for the town, because when I send out short-term rental letters, every single letter I send to someone costs $1. So I send out like 50 letters per, like, for those 5 short-term rentals, I literally sent out about 50 letters. These are probably gonna cost me 60-something cents to send out. So it'll be a little bit cheaper for us too. So that's kind of nice.
Is there a way to look at the entirety of the town, not with that much
She's
detail?
working on it. Yeah.
The entirety of the town?
You were gonna do a whole map, right? And you're bringing that to the next plan commission
Oh, a
meeting?
heat map?
Yeah,
Oh, I have it on my other computer, but I don't know if my other computer will connect.
but she's working on it.
So not with all that detail for maybe every property, unless that is what would be part of it, but just a locator that this is where they are.
I have a little bit of a heat map I tried making. It doesn't have exactly all of the points because I had to use coordinates. There's about 114 short-term rental units that we have, and I was only able to get coordinates for, I think it was like 97 of them. So it's not 100% of them. It's most of them though, but so it's not 100% accurate, but it's.
That doesn't have anything to do with the fact that we have a certain number that are gonna come off, but we haven't addressed it yet at Plan Commission. Did we?
What?
You said there's a difference. It sounds like it's about 5 or 7, and the difference that you have. Well, I mean,
No, I'm just saying that because to make my heat map, I just used coordinates, and I'm just saying that I just couldn't get coordinates for all of them to make the heat map.
So if you instead wanted to go a little more old school and just have a list of all of that?
I do have a list of all of them. I just am not, I just don't really have the ability, I guess, to plot them as accurately versus the ones with the coordinates I have, like, the exact pinpoint spot for, which I guess I could do that.
I think this is pretty front end, showing people where things are being approved in that, but what you would want a list available to everyone?
I'm gonna eventually put that heat map and the actual list of the actual point map on there.
Okay.
Was that the question?
Yeah,
Yes. Sorry, I'm not gonna. I could potentially. I don't know. I don't know if I would want to put the actual address list because I just don't know. if that would be the safest for our
You
renters.
should probably check with the town attorney
Yeah.
and with our administrator to see if that's appropriate, because there are certain things that maybe by law we shouldn't be doing that. I mean, I think this is pretty open and transparent right here when they're getting approved, but if we have just with the key points, but people's names, addresses, and phone numbers, I think between host compliance and the town, any concerns are pretty much taken care of. But I don't know what people would do with a list.
People have actually asked me for a list, and I remember Jamie gave it to me at one point just because we've been working
That
with.
was Jamie.
No, I'm just saying she gave it to me and said, "Do not share this with anyone else."
Thank you.
Yeah.
Because we were doing we just wanted to coordinate with the short-term rental owners, but yeah, she specifically said this is not a list to share.
Thank you.
But yeah, so that's what I have going on. I'm hoping that makes it easier for everyone. It's more transparent, so then everyone can see where they're located, and it's just over time going to be easier for everyone to see where they're located. And it's kind of cool because as I get more and more data, what I can actually do is from the back end I can pull all these points and I can put them on a map way easier.
It's really nice, very nice. And just so people are aware, none of this is changing the number of nights and things, something can be rented, none of that. This is
Nope.
just, kind of streamlining the process.
Yep, the only thing that this is doing is just it's just changing the second half of this, which is just the zoning half. The whole first half, getting the license, that's not changing at all. It's just changing the fact that they don't have to go to plan commission. They're just going to stay with me, and that's it.
It's ultimately saving time. It's making the process easier. It's less red tape. Sometimes now it could take up to 2 or 3 months depending on when it's posted, the public hearings, and if somebody wants to get in, we had one where, the house was done, they wanted, but it was the next meeting, and, then it's the next meeting. So the whole process will eventually be streamlined, and it's taking the conditional use permit off of there and going to a zoning permit, which is allowed.
Yep,
And other municipalities are using zoning permits.
Yep, the longest part of this is just we're trying to figure out a timeline for the letters, pretty much. And that's going to be the longest thing.
Does it save or change any fees?
Yes, it will make it a little bit cheaper just because we won't have to spend money on the public hearing notice, because it costs us money to get those published, especially when they're really long with all those public hearing notice, or all those properties being noticed.
Fees for the town, what about fees for the applicant?
Yep, them too, because part of their fee is, them being in plan commission, because we have to pay for our plan commissioners to be here, and then part of their fee goes towards that public hearing.
Okay.
And to cover the internal processing
that
that
too.
our staff does, because believe it or not, they go through a lot for those right now, so.
Yes, it does take a while.
And those go to town board then too, or is
Nope.
that
They do
being
not.
eliminated?
No, they've never gone to
Oh,
town board.
they didn't. Okay.
But because we're changing the ordinances, Lisa, to do that, remove the conditional use, move it into zoning permit, it does have to come to town board. That's why it's on the agenda.
Okay.
Oh, yeah.
Wow, that's pretty exciting. Lexi. You're really taking us the next level up with all of this, so thank you.
Am I correct in that we still follow state guidelines for how the short-term rentals work on their end? Like if I have, like how they have to structure their rentals, their number of nights, like all that we should still follow state guideline on those, correct?
Yeah, I
And
believe
none
so.
of that is changing?
No, that's not changing at all, and the
Okay.
inspections still apply, health
Yep.
inspection, fire inspection, building inspector.
I always get those questions, so I
Yeah,
always like to know that.
those are still, all those standards are still in place. It's primarily to take off the conditional use permit and make the process easier, more streamlined,
Yep.
efficient, and more affordable for everybody.
Which is good to know. Okay, awesome.
Okay. That's the last item on our agenda, except for next agenda items, which Tiffany's going to be coming back to us with the Q1 ideas after talking to Aaron. And we have our ongoing items that stay on. Anything else you'd like to see on the next agenda? You can always bring it to my attention or to Lexi's attention to add it to the agenda. And then the next meeting is February February 5th.
Yes.
Yikes.
That's a
It's
Wednesday.
only the second.
Yeah, is that the
It-
right date?
Yeah, it is a
Lexi?
Wednesday, because on the Thursday, I'm going to be gone.
Can we find someone else to, well, if it's I suppose with reporting and everything, it would just be better to have you, so if we go on that Wednesday.
Okay, so note that everybody, that's a big change.
Same time though, 3 p.m.
Yes.
Okay.
Same time.
Same bad time,
I
same
told you
bad
guys this
channel.
last month.
Yeah, you did.
Yeah. Okay, meeting, can I have a motion to adjourn the meeting?
I'll make a motion to adjourn the meeting.
Now second.
Okay, I think we're all in favor. The meeting is adjourned.